is having issues with coordination on attack, they could find themselves in a bit of trouble here on Hollywood as well.
So Hollywood going to be our third map of the series after the draw on Anubis. XL2 once again on the defense, going to be playing the Element Mystic. Sort of the Element Mystic with the Reinhardt Zarya. It is actually the Element Mystic with Gig on that Ryan, KSP on the Zarya, really do. So for them, the most important thing, and we've seen this before with Element Mystic in Korea, and even Overwatch League now, is Buds must build ult fast.
And he's doing just that, already 40%, the dive in, devastating. You shouldn't be able to get just struck this badly on the move in when it seems like Summer Doom, but that's exactly what happened. Speedily got a great engage, the rest of XL2 just immediately diving in. And talk about Buds in the build, 63%, that'll do.
And Tea Party also now need to recognize when they're playing against this comp with the Doomfist and the Sombra, their concern doesn't necessarily have to be the Doom. The Doom can pick off your supports, but you have the peel, you have bubbles necessary, you just save the bubbles for that. Their concern is maybe removing Buds from that backline, not getting the free poke, and then looking for an engage. They need to rotate to a position where these double DPS are weaker. They're not getting free poke, but because of them losing the first fight, Buds are already going to have EMP.
Well, not only that, but look at how much Speedily did in the first fight. Still has shield residual, 85% to a Meteor Strike. Tea Party eating a lot of damage on the rotation. Buds has EMP. The win condition is ready.
An EMP nade is all XL2 to win this fight, unless they're able to have a good split for Tea Party. They need to be saving those bubbles. The self bubble already out. Both bubbles down for Tea Party already. They're not committing to the point just yet. They have Bossman there to try to get the pressure.
Well, Blub is very, very close to getting a Transcendence. Buds, though, on the verge of using EMP. Transcendence is ready. He could have a well-timed Transcendence in response. Buds getting de-stealth here. Transcendence not used. XL2 playing it slow. There's EMP, but there's a Transcendence. Blub right in at the right time. Tea Party is totally okay, but maybe not now as the Shatter comes in from Gig. XL2 moving forward. And Tea Party still springing off a bit. Ace of Spades getting low. Taken on down. Speedily hopped in. Goes for the uppercut. Nano Doomfist as he works his way around the back.
And right now, this is good for XL2. They need to make sure that Hockey stays alive because the sustain overall much better for them. You see the grab come out. Can the cleanup be available? Because right now, Speedily, he's doing a lot of damage, especially on the grab.
Quite a bit. The Graviton setting him on up. A Madian knocking the rest down for Tea Party. Tea Party, they fight their way through. A Madian's grab has done enough. And XL2 just beating on down. Bud's close to another EMP, but it shouldn't really matter for point A.
There's no recontest. XL2 really flubbing their win conditions there. We have blub, 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 but that was flub, 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 because I don't understand. But XL2, they drop the EMP. They don't commit nade. I don't know if they used it earlier, but there was no nade to stop the Transcendence because he doesn't catch Blub with the EMP. They don't use any of their ults in conjunction with the EMP, and then they just set up a Madian's grab because it's a free grab. There's no diva to eat.
I mean, everything about the EMP play there for Buds is bad. I think it was a sluggish EMP to begin with. It didn't hit enough people, and also it doesn't hit Blub there, so you're not hitting enough people to win the fight, and you don't get the Zinyaku who can transcend in. It just was a rough EMP, but here's the EMP, and that hits 5, no, full 6. That is much better for Buds.
Much better, but now they just need to have a better second offense here as well. The EMP is gone. They won't have beat, they won't have grab, and Tea Party going to be moving into his next fight where there's no EMP available, there's no grab to just strip the Transcendence for Blub. Sure, this is a good stagger for Bossman, but Tea Party, once Bossman is back, are going to have the ults they need to win. And it's going to be really based around Haku. Can Haku get an anti here? Again, can Gig get the Shatter? They need to find value from what little they have.
One interesting thing is that Speedily still has quite a bit of shield built up on the Doomfist, so for Speedily, he can dive in a little bit more aggressively than norm here, buy a little bit of time and likely get out of his life. Bud's still setting up for the build on the back, waiting quite a while to start poking.
The active, no bubbles, right now. The Trance is forced.
Only Transcendence force. Here comes Speedily up into the sky. Meteor Strike looking for a way on down, and just decides to go to the top for the reset.
The reset, there is no Transcendence now for Tea Party, but there's still Shatter, still Bomb. Tea Party getting into the world. You see the Bomb engage coming out, not catching anybody. But Tea Party, they're just taking more space.
Nice engage from XL2. Speedily moving on in, finding Ace of Spades with KSP. A Gig back the other way at the Shatter, and that's well played by XL2.
XL2 getting that fight win. That was an important fight win for them. It was important as well that they forced that trance early, because look at XL2's ult economy coming in where they're getting the EMP, they will have the grab, and now there's no Transcendence for Blub. Blub actually making the swap onto Ana now, so not getting wanting to play the Zen. Have that Ana for the sustain, have the Ana, because they also know that there's no defensive ult for them. They need something. They need a nade, they need a sleep.
Meanwhile, for XL2, EMP is going to be up for the next fight. Graviton in reserve. This is going to be a pretty difficult fight from Tea Party unless a Madian lands just an incredible Graviton to set things up, followed with a good Bionade.
There's the rally in. Tea Party just pressuring the point right now. XL2 playing the high ground continuously. You see
Oh, Gig
going for the contest with his team. They need to be there to back him up. They can't let him die.
Gig almost falling the barrier, just barely saving him, but the drop down pays dividends. They take down 3.
He swept, but it doesn't really matter. Tea Party are losing. But actually, as we say that, Antal is getting a little bit of back cap. Should be going down very soon. Actually a decent amount of free cap given to Antal there. It doesn't really matter in the end. It's kind of late for XL2. They still have EMP. They still have Nano. Tea Party, they have to be anxious because right now their win conditions for this next fight is Ace of Spades and Amadian have to have a good peel ult. But that requires them not to be caught by EMP.
And that is quite difficult given the positioning. XL2 on one of the more oppressive high ground areas in Overwatch. Going up the elevator, probably not a great idea. But the problem is that landing a good grab from this positioning, quite difficult. Buds waiting for the EMP. Nano Doomfist moving on in. They get grabbed first. The EMP has not been used. Gig gonna get taken for a ride, abducted to the other side. EMP finally used, but Gig is down. Speedily drops on in. Tea Party falling to the Doomfist here of Speedily, but that was a risk taken from XL2. But hey, Tea Party starting to fight back. The bomb taking down 2, and Speedily finding himself alone here with KSP.
Speedily KSP, though, they still have the bubbles. The sleep on Haku onto Fossman is so huge right now. That sleep onto Fossman means there is no Matrix. There was no pressure there. Speedily and KSP and Haku forming the trio there because Ace of Spades, he's Reinhardt. He's Big Rectangle Man. He has nothing he can do to pressure KSP or really even Speedily. There was nothing he could do. That was actually extremely winnable fight for him.
And I have to say, Speedily's Doomfist has been a star here so far. It's been impressive to watch. He's had good engages, good pickoffs in most of these fights.
Party gonna have to re-enter the Nano out for Blub. They're on point far. Is Anti, the rallies available? Gig gets a shout out to Ace. Can they clean him up though?
Bar moving on in. Last chance here for Tea Party. Stuck in the grab. Gig landing the pin. 6 on 5 here for XL2. Gig gonna find himself all sorts of boosted up. Diving on in. And that's gonna be it. Tea Party losing far too many here on the point. And XL2, they recover from point A with what is looking to be a very nice point B hold. Tea Party desperately trying to bring back in, but just they don't have the numbers. Overtime ticks down. And XL2 well positioned to win the series.
Because remember, this is the third map of the series, so if XL2 wins this, it's 2-0 up because of that draw, and there's no mathematical way, obviously, then for Tea Party to win. So Tea Party need to get this map to equalize to take it to the 4th. And when I look at that defense, what was very much a missed opportunity for XL2, they capitalized on 2nd, and I really don't see the Sombra play being the reason for that. I see Speedily and KSP.
Yeah,
being a solid duo, staying alive, getting value from their grabs, Speedily in particular, just getting the disruption needed to set up Gig, to set up Haku. Huge plays.
It was really nice seeing Speedily's Doomfist and what he was doing every fight. And, if you want evidence of just the amount of damage he was doing, the amount of disruption that he had, you could just look every fight at Speedily with simply the amount of ult charge he was building, the amount of shield he was ending with at the end of fights. You don't have those markers if your Doomfist isn't doing a high degree of work, where in this case Speedily's was.
And it does make his job easier where you're playing against a lot of tanks. So sure, you can get a lot of damage. But when you're Doomfist, you have to be constantly worried about the fact that you can get bashed, you can get slept, you can get focused extremely quickly when there's also bubbles on the enemy teams on the side of their field once your cooldowns are out. So just the fact that Speedily was living could be a testament not only to Speedily, but also Tea Party having trouble dealing with the Doom. They just weren't fortunate enough to really have that pressure they needed to deal with Speedily.
Well, for Tea Party, I just feel like they didn't really have an answer to the drop downs from the high ground. They were playing it on the ground and never really got better for them. They never had what could be considered a good engage really throughout all of second point. They were just mystified at the map itself.
XL2 now going to be on the offense, running Sombra Goats, running that Sombra with Buds. Tea Party running a pretty standard 3-3. And for Tea Party, when you look at what XL2 is running, for their goals should be to not let Buds build EMP easily. They need to be taking these engages fast. They need to be punishing, isolating targets for XL2.
They should already be diving into XL2. Arguably, they've given XL2 too much time here already. Buds just freely building ult charge. I mean, there's a half-hearted attempt to pressure Buds, but Tea Party in general, they could be diving into XL2 themselves right now.
Well, they really couldn't after that because Fossman had to shift. Fossman had to shift to go help Far. Far was somehow losing the fight versus Buds on point as Brigida, losing the 1v1. So they actually couldn't get Buds, though, getting caught now. Good bash for Far.
So they punish Buds, and that's one equation of dealing with a Sombra Goat setup, the 3-2-1. But the other part is, you can't let the main XL2 squad just hang back here. At some point, you need to challenge the main body.
And also because punishing Buds is great and all. Sure, you win the fight, but Buds is still building EMP during all this. You're not punishing him denying him ult charge, you're just punishing him getting the frag, which means there will come a time where because you have been making these big fights for Tea Party, their ults are not going to be available to stop the EMP push.
No, the overall ult build for Tea Party has been rough, and that's because they haven't engaged main XL2. They've just been playing, whack the Buds, which, all right, it's bought them a little bit of time here, but guess what? As you say, Buds almost has EMP.
Buds is at 80% to EMP, and Blub and Antal are both not very close at all to their respective support ults. We have to be a quick fight, though. As I say that, Blub is having some good presence. XL2 need to stop poking. If they want this, XL2 actually, I think, are to blame for this fight here as well, because sure, they have EMP now, but because they've been poking this entire time on top of Bud's poke, they've given Blub the trance.
Well, the Graviton can be out here for some XL2, but they lose Gig! They lose Gig before the EMP is even invested, and if you're Buds, you hold on to that Q key, you do not press it, you wait for the next fight.
That was definitely probably not what XL2 wanted at all. They just used Grav's EP and no support ults. 0 support ults were given for Tea Party, and they just invested EMP. This means the entire Sombra 3-3...
No, they didn't invest EMP. They did not.
No, I'm saying they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, they did invest EMP, but now the problem is because they did not invest EMP, commit to that fight, and they invested Grav. I should say, probably just say Grav. It's triple support ult, Grav, 6 ults really available for Tea Party now, and this has messed up the whole ult economy for Sombra Goats.
It's quite rough, and XL2 going to be moving over to a point. They need a more aggressive EMP here. EMP going to head on out. It only hits Ace of Spades. It hits Ace of Spades, hits far in the back, so only 2. And Tea Party, they can just transcend. They can stay reasonably alive. They use the barrier right after. Ace of Spades has no trouble, drops the shatter, doesn't get much. XL2, though, on the other side, going to start falling. And Tea Party, just not phased by the EMP.
And you know what would have been great there for XL2? A Grav. A Grav would have been fantastic for that fight, because then you've been able to... Amadian has the Grav for the peel. They have all their support ults. XL2 just could not find a target to isolate to pick down. They got close with Ace of Spades, but the EMP wasn't big enough. They just didn't deny any value for Tea Party. So this is a real problem for XL2. We're looking at a first hold potentially.
And this would, again, go to the idea that XL2 just sloppy on these first point engages.
This is the fight for them to win. This is the fight for them to win. They have Rally, they have Grab, they're coming up on EMP. They must win this fight.
The upside here for Buds, he's built EMP back up reasonably quickly here. They should wait for it. They have enough time. It's 30 seconds left to make this final fight a quality one. They won't get another. They're waiting. Oh, already! OG is down. XL2 in a rough spot. Down goes Gig. And now they have to reset, but they're going to be so short on time. The only upside is it's a quick wipe, so maybe they will get another chance, but this is really risky. It's only 15 seconds left.
15 seconds left, and they're still going to be coming up into the Transcendence for Blub. Bossman will get Bomb likely as well. Here comes the reset for XL2. They have 7 seconds. They need to move into the point right now. Very likely they might actually have to see...
OG's already down.
OG's already down.
He was going to touch it. Buds just has to throw himself onto the point, has the EMP far too early. And Tea Party in a really good spot right now. They get stuck in the grab. They lose Blub. But here's a self-destruct from Foss, looking for one. Gonna find one. Tea Party find the way back. Amadian in a good spot. Charged up, ready to go. Fossman in the back line. They lose Ace of Spades. It's still winnable for Tea Party. The barrier is dropped. They're looking for Gig on the other side. Gig is going to fall. Fossman still darting in and around. No one's dealt with the Diva the entire time. Bar swinging the mace. XL2 desperately trying to stagger back in. Amadian uses the Graviton. It's better control here for Tea Party.
That's a second trance. That's the second trance for Haku. But the question for XL2 is, with the delay, can they win this post-fight? I'm saying no, because right now Amadian, he's full charge. This is done. I think this is way done.
Amadian is just in such a good spot right now. Takes down another 2. And the Zarya pressure too much. It's Fossman and Amadian just doing so much work. They bring it back for Tea Party. It's 1-1.
1-1. We're going to the fourth map, and XL2 once again squandering opportunities there, I would say. This is a squad that's recognizing their win conditions, but they are just not executing. They're not executing their win conditions at all properly. They used Grav in the fight previously, don't move in that very early fight, didn't remove any ults for Tea Party. So then the entire ult economy for Sombra Goats is messed up, because sure, you have EMP, you may have Shatter, but your versus triple support ult. Your verse is also a grab that can peel against you, and it's a free grab because you don't have a Diva. That early fight just set in motion what we saw the rest of the map, which was just poor ult economy for XL2.
Well, it's poor ult economy and also just not great EMP engages, where Buds looked good on second point Hollywood on defense, but that's also a very easy area to drop in on, right? You see the entire team from above. You can really cherry pick when you go in. But I think back to that first attack fight there for XL2, and what did you need? You needed a decisive EMP, And the engage, they end up using Grav before EMP. I don't know if it was called that the EMP was coming out and it didn't. But however it was, it just wasn't the proper order that fight should have been done in. And XL2, off that bad early fight, just never could recover.
So we're moving into the fourth map of the series. XL2 and Tea Party very, very close right now. And when I look at the squads, I see XL2 still doing great in neutral fights. It's the ult fights. It's the ult fights that's killing, like you talked about. It's the engages, especially when they're running the Sombra. When they're running the Sombra, they're just not, there's no clear decisiveness with how they engage with their ults, how they use the EMP in particular. So the final map, XL2 needs to figure it out. And I'm sure they would just love to take it back to a 2-2-2 setup because they looked clearly superior versus Tea Party before.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And also, just to give credit where credit is due, when you look at kind of the issues they've had in Sombra, I look at Buds and I see, as you say, one part that's going well, one part that's not so much. The neutral fight, Buds is kind of reminding me of Baby Bay with how quickly he's able to build EMPs and otherwise, but he's also reminding of Baby Bay and trying to get good EMPs off where it's just not happening.
It's a tough one. It's extremely tough job for XL2, for Buds in particular, finding value for EMP. So they need to get something done. They need to change up their prerogative a little bit moving into the fourth map. And Tea Party, when I look at this S, they've been having it's Fossman and Amadian. And I think Far's been doing an excellent job as well, though there was some points where it's looked questionable. But so far, they have a solid duo with them. They're getting the value. They have playmakers. For really the rest of the squad, it's then just moving everything up because this is a pretty solid first contender showing. Now, we don't really know how XL2 stacks up against other what we expect to be stronger squads. Those academy squads. So remember, this is the first match of all contenders for an A, so we're sort of seeing the litmus test.
I have to say, with XL2 having issues on ult coordination on attack, this is a scary fourth map to be on. Because Havana, as has been proven out so far, is one of the most defensively minded maps in the game. And you have to be very much on the same page if you even want to attempt getting through first. First point holds here, more likely than really any other escort map in the game. And so far, first point holds have been the bane of XL2.
A first point hold on Havana? It's more likely than you think. And especially for XL2, because right now I have to say when I'm trying to look at them take first, it's questionable. It's very questionable. And we've seen in Overwatch League how Havana has been so easy to hold those doors, hold that first choke. And you also have so many fights for first, too. It's not just the first point where you have to get past the first hold. It's also then the recontest.
The trucks in Nevada don't go very fast, is what we found out.
It's similar to me in a lot of ways to Dorado, I feel, just even harder.
Much harder, I would say. It's as if every fight was a long, grueling courtyard fight. And again, Tea Party doing what I think is the proper strategy right now. You spawn camp.
Tea Party going to be playing 3-3, holding close to the doors. Love, though, getting isolated with the anti-nade. Already down. No Zen, no Discord, no heals. The hack still coming out. XL2 with this triple DPS setup, looking to break this quite early.
Well, surprise, it's a Tracer in your backline, and it's an old favorite, and it's one that works. XL2, powered by the Tracer Pharah, takes down multiple members of Tea Party, and they break the early spawn camp.
And I think this is where XL2 really shines, is putting KSP and Speedily onto these DPS heroes. They've been playmakers so far throughout the series. They have a history of being very strong playmakers, forcing Tea Party to adjust. You see Tea Party now going to 2-2 themselves. Ace of Spades on the Winston, Far going to the Tracer, Naudian onto the Sombra.
Tracer v Tracer, again, a rare treat that we've been seeing a little bit more, even at the Overwatch League level in recent times. Far chasing it on down, looking for Haku. Haku in danger, having the bio nade to stay alive, but being healed on the other side. Meanwhile, Blub finds Buds, and Buds was real close to EMP. Meanwhile, KSP working around, and KSP's been finding a lot of value here for XL2 on the attack.
It's going to go down, though, to Amadian, so it is going to be done now. Blub picking up Speedily there with the right click. I like Tea Party making the swap onto the 2-2 with Moira versus the triple DPS. They're so much more mobile. You have the Sombra and the Tracer that can sort of harass, look for Haku, because really the weak link for XL2 right now was Haku. There was no anchor for him, especially while Gig in particular is on the Hammond. He's not really there's no peel. But now Speedily on Regita means a lot easier to peel for Haku.
Also, I'm in from Far, not quite going to get what he wants. Meanwhile, Buds investing the EMP, hits 3.
So far away! They're so far away, ZP. There's no possibility for cleanup.
The fall through isn't there. Again, Buds, you build EMPs quickly, but you don't know what to do once you have them.
Tea Party surviving through the EMP. They're going to have an EMP of their own. They're going to have beat Bossman demech, but there's still a win condition available for Tea Party.
XL2 still fighting on back. Bossman down. Good omen, given how much he usually does. KSP looking Meltdown down. KSP lucky to be alive. Somehow dodging the damage. Buds in on the backside. XL2 making this real pressure filled here for Tea Party. And this is looking good for XL2 despite some of the missteps.
Well, I just saw 2 EMPs, and they were both equally just non-important. They couldn't find any cleanup. They couldn't get what they needed for either team, Tea Party or XL2. It's just the neutral fight that's mattering here, and the neutral fight, XL2 has been winning.
So XL2, they get through point A by Havana standards, lightning fast.
First cap going the way of XL2. They are going to have an EMP, going to have the Nano the rally soon. So plenty of win conditions for XL2 coming to this next fight. When you're looking at Tea Party with the swap of now onto the 3-3, an early engage for Fossman with the bomb. Can they find anything from it, though?
Well, bomb goes out and forces XL2 to adapt, but XL2, the bomb effect is gone. They're going to use Nano, move back on in. Bud's holding on to the EMP, but shouldn't have to use it. Far down pretty early here in this fight, and this is a very alt-cheap fight for XL2.
Using the Nano to win the fight. The bomb was out for Fossman, so some time bot for Tea Party. And they are going to be coming up on the trance, but it's 5 ults versus really probably 1. 5 ults versus 1. I'm going to take the 5 ults any day of the week if I'm XL2. I'm looking at this fight, and I think this is a cap. This is a second cap. It should be.
And now that we've set the stage, if Tea Party wins this next fight, you have a lot to judge XL2 for. ASP on top, EMP can be used, and that's a good one from Buds. Hits 5, sets up the shadow from Gig, and that is easy cleanup for XL2.
Fly for that fine. You win the fight. Should be able to cap second now. Getting that pick on the Fossman late. Blub still holding on to Transcendence. So if there is a recontest possible, if they're able to get there fast enough, they will have that trance. But even with the Transcendence, they're going to be walking into the Grav, walking into the Rally, into the Beat. So there's still plenty of options for XL2.
XL2 have been very economical here so far. They're going to open up with the Rally. Pressure directly at the door. Fossman coming in from the side, but Fossman just gets obliterated. Discord Orb sealing his fate. The Graviton at the door. And that is well played by XL2. And why Transcendence?
Yeah,
why?
Well, he was transing at the door, hoping they could recontest. But the problem is that they weren't going to be able to get through the door, even with the trans invested. I could agree with the whys, the desperate whys, the plaintive whys from ZP there. I could understand the frustration, but they were hoping they'd make it through the door. But since their Devo was already DMAC going for the contest, they probably weren't going to.
XL2 renewed life here in Havana. Was a little bit shaky at the beginning, but 3.5 minutes left to get to last. And I gotta tell you, this is not a map that is finished all that often.
No, it's not. And if it is finished, it's finished with very little time left in the bank generally. But so having EMPs, but we say that the spam and the fire strike, bye-bye Antal, so no Lucio, no speed, no healing there, no ability to even heal for Buds as well. Because remember, Lucio is a key member in terms of healing that Sombra. So a free fight win for XL2, and when you look at this upcoming fight, it's still pretty dangerous. XL2, they have EMP Shatter, they have double support ults. Tea Party just does not have a lot relying on Fossman's bombs and Amanian's grab. A lot.
XL2 in a very, very good spot here. And the EMP comes out early, hits 3, and they use it to remove Ace of Spades. A Bionade on the XL2. I mean, it's nice, but there's no fall through there. The beat can keep XL2 alive. They overlay support ults to a degree, but Tea Party in a very tough spot as XL2 threatening to finish out Havana here and now.
Now Blub has the Nano, but he's already down, sniped by KSB. KSB has grab for this next beat contest. There's no beat, there's no defensibles. Tea Party all coming up on things to try to contest. There's the bomb for Fossman, but can they get anything from this?
Bomb up and over, and no, so far it's looking like XL2 just gonna shrug it on off. Ace of Spades already down 6 on 5. XL2 moving on forward, they deal with Fossman. The Graviton gonna seal the rest of it. XL2 on the verge of setting an incredibly fast time here on Havana.
Audience does cap that Nano, but he is Reaper, so bye-bye, it's done. That's going to be the cap. You see Ace of Spades is going to be going on very quickly. A little bit of contest, actually, still. We're going to see a legendary Tea Party. Here it comes.
Focus fire, XL2.
Haku's alive. Haku's alive. They can definitely focus fire.
Do not repeat the mistakes of Anubis. Finish them off one by one. Get this into the last part. Tea Party, you're good at delay, but XL2, they finish it out the way that they should have if you go back to Anubis.
So that is going to be the cap for XL2. Still plenty of time left on the bank for them as well. Much better moving into there. But they also had a much more decisive fight, I would say. And their positioning was a lot better as well. And when I look at Tea Party's defense, really, it all comes down in a lot of ways to that first. To that first, where they move back in, and neither team, despite them living through Buds' grab, were just so far away, there was no cleanup available for XL2 at all. They just go for the counter EMP, find nothing, and then they're just down ult economy all the way through second.
And I think here it's worth noting, given that we had brought up just the EMPs were rough and have been rough over the last map and a half or so, but Buds had good EMPs towards the latter half of Havana, where he got into a rhythm, hit a very good 5-man EMP, in on second, hit a good tank-shattering EMP, the setup last. So Bud's had a bit of a recovery.
Now the question is, will Tea Party have a recovery? Will they have a strong offense here? XL2 looking like they're going to be running out here on a bunker.
Ooh, this is dangerously close to Clockwork Vendetta territory. Not quite, but anytime you bring on Orisa, Bastion, May, it's not necessarily a great time for their team if they're not comfortable and how to deal with what is a variant of EU's favorite brand of cheese.
And it is a solo heal as well. We do see that OG is on the Batiste. As they spray paint, is that the W? WL? I don't know. They're saying something out there.
Yeah,
I can't read what it's saying. I wish I was smart enough. I don't know. Oh, ooh, were they dropping oohs like we hear production say in our ears? And honestly, never mind then. I don't want XL2 to win anymore.
Yeah.
They just said ooh, never mind.
Oh, well, that might be rough for you and your wants because KSP immediately finds one off the start. We'll see if Tea Party swaps you here, RD. It's going to be a Madian swapping over to the Ashe. And they are going full shield break between the Ashe, the Pharah, and the Hanzo.
And I think this is the right play. When you have this much distance between you, the shield break comp should be a lot stronger when you have the ability to navigate the skybox. They can't be letting Buds get these hacks, though, in particular on Ace of Spades, because they need the shield to trade effectively. Boston's out of mech, which is huge.
And KSP immediately finds him out of the mech. Ult coming on in, looking to sub KSP even more. And KSP so far has been very deadly on the Widow.
Yeah, as you see these angles being taken, Haku actually going to be finding Antal, so no mercy. KSP getting Ace of Spades, so the cart is going to be stopped. And they've taken it to the top of this hill, the top of this little incline from spawn. But how does Tea Party now get back to here? How do they rotate? They're going to need to go through the flanks, move through the buildings, and then they need to pressure the shield for Gig. They need to make XL2 move.
Well, XL2, one thing they haven't had to do right now is move, as you say.
As Buds also picks up Fossman there in the back, he's hunting for those snipers. It is a current double sniper with the Pharah of Tea Party, and Buds is just looking to hunt. He already has EMP.
Well, Tea Party's been locked in, and they might be locked in for a little bit more because guess what? Infrasight gonna be coming up here, and you know, again, you listen to Jake talk about it. It is an incredibly painful to try and push through, and they try to do it anyways, and just get melted on down. Minigun pressure from one side, the sniper pressure from the other.
And they're running into the problem where they're getting isolated by the walls here as they push. And I don't know why they're trying to push ZP because they're running a shield break comp. Why are they not breaking shield before they push? Why are they just pushing? They need to just pressure Gig, make Haku move, and then look for the push. Right now, when they're looking for these dry pushes without any presence, without any poke at all, they're always going to lose these fights versus the Bastion, and Buds is still hunting your backline, has EMP.
I mean, they're probably going to lose the next one here, because guess what? The EMP going to deal with the shield immediately. Haku, totally open, delaying the damage, does just that. Even with OG falling, not enough.
Now it's another fight when that is going to be the EMP out for Buds. So Tea Party don't have to worry about the EMP anymore. And they're coming up to their ults, they're coming up to some things, because since there's no Diva for XL2, Blub's Dragon becomes a lot stronger. The Bob becomes a lot stronger. The Barrage, all three of their triple DPS ults become a lot stronger. So it's all on OG to have a good immortality.
Oh, already Haku almost getting one. The Dragon, though, gonna be directly into his face.
Immortality field was gigantic, by the way. They're all so low and they all live.
Oh, the amplification matrix into the Bastion. That is just too much damage to even peak.
And that's exactly what I talked about pre-fight, is that since there's no Diva, those ults become so much stronger, but OG is just going to save Immortality Field. So then the question becomes, if you want to break that, that's cool, you can engage with Dragon Strike, but they needed other follow-up. They needed other follow-up because Dragon Strike alone is not going to remove the bunker because of Immortality Field.
Well, speaking of dragons and potentially sad swaps, Tea Party's going to move to the Genji Tracer, but it's 45 seconds left. You don't have enough time to build a Dragon Blade unless you're just simply a god.
45 seconds left. They have very little time left. There's so many ults for XL2 as well. I mean, Supercharger, Bastion, Blizzard, so much available for XL2.
Well, that Bionade is big.
But the Immortality Field is bigger, once again.
Immortality Field keeping up. Gig, so low! Is Gig actually going to survive here? And a Diva in his face, and yes, Gig ends up living. The Blizzard is in, so is the tank. Could have been a different fight, but Haku just absolutely pummels on the Bastion.
That's 3 for Haku, and the dive comes in for the dive was actually quite effective off of Blub's anti, but the problem is that they still had so many resources left for XL2, no ults, and all for Tea Party. So we're at final fight. Can Amadian be the one to even touch? Because it looks like he's going to have to be.
Well, Amadian heading in from the back. And no, the payload is covered. Amadian lucky not to just get immediately melted down. Haku laying damage from the side. Buds drops EMP, gets slept. Wall coming on up. Ace of Spades in real danger. Still suffering the effects of the EMP, but Far gets one. Tea Party.
This is so
potentially in
winnable.
it. Yeah, it's very winnable. Amplification Matrix, though, down. They're firing on through it. Tea Party still pushing payload all the while. XL2, you gotta get over to the point. Madian takes down Gig, speedily moving forward. You gotta get to the point. 3 meters, 2 meters, 1! They don't get to the point!
They don't touch the point, and now there's a Nano Blade for next fight as well, CP. Tea Party, they touched the point. They're able to rotate effectively. XL2 not able to catch them all. There wasn't any follow-up for the EMP again. They EMP when there was no follow-up. There was nothing ready. It seems like the XL2 wasn't even prepared for Bud's the EMP.
And I think what hurt XL2 there is that the way the sightlines were is that it was a really tough sightline for Haku to land good damage on the Bastion.
Well, then the question that remains, if you're going to EMP, there definitely should be some. It seems weird that there's no follow-up at all there. What didn't seem planned. And now when we look at this next fight, it's all on XL2's cooldowns to beat Nano Blade. You have to have perfect cooldown usage.
Well, this is a nicely executed Nano Blade. Far gets on in there, immediately finds 3, make it 4. It's gonna be the full 5. Looking for it, gonna finish it, and that is old school Nano Blade in action.
Old school Nano Blade, XL2, they had some cooldowns available, but they didn't have any ults, no defensives there. The only way you win that fight is if Haku hits a sleep or maybe Speedly hits the bash.
Or if Far gets like hacked before diving in.
But none of those were available. So now Tea Party continuing to move forward. They are coming up on the beat, but not a lot of resources for Tea Party when you're up against a full Sombra Goats.
XL2 heading back to the point. Oh, the Fire Strike! Catching one immediately. Tea Party keeping up the momentum. They drop the beat. They're ready for more. Buds getting awfully low. Builds EMP in the middle of the fight, but now is not the time to use it. XL2 too wounded. They're going to have to give up point B, and there was no resistance at all.
And XL2, when you're working against the comp that Tea Party's running, they're running Diva, Rein, Genji, Sombra. Diva, Rein, Genji, Sombra means there's no bubbles for Ace of Spades or your backline or even your Diva. There's 0 bubbles on the field. I don't know how XL2 have not been isolating Phosman with hacks, have been isolating Ace of Spades by just walking on over them. There's a lot of options available for XL2. It doesn't seem like they're using any of them.
It's been tough, though. Amadian get it caught by the Fire Strike from Gig on the other side. XL2 going to get a little bit of stabilization here. And Buds saved the EMP, so they're still going to have it for this first fight on C.
Buds there again, EMP Shatter only catching Ace of Spades, though really with that is set up, but that's all they need.
Well, it's all they need, but the problem is the rest of the Tea Party is able to get away, so you don't build as much ult from XL2 as you normally would for investing both EMP and Shatter.
And ZP, what's really desperate, putting XL2 here on the edge, I would say, is that they have Tea Party has Nano Blade and EMP.
And already Far gets to work, chops down the Lucio, and looking for a bit more. No, taken down, beamed on down. That is rare to see. Now you're going to see the EMP Shatter invested 2 to the floor. XL2, though, getting back up the rally, keeping him alive. And that is tragic for Tea Party.
It was a good engagement in Nano Blade, but once again, the problem was Tea Party were not there to follow up with Far. They needed to be further up as well because Speedily just saved Bash. Haku had the Nano, so there was no clear ability. They couldn't just hack through Gig. The Nano was out on him. They had Speedily there to bash. And that's the problem with Genji in general when you're up against heavy comps with Vegeta. And then they try to invest Nano EMP, and they weren't far enough either. Ace of Spades giving his life.
Buds has built the EMP. This is so good for XL2. Final 40 seconds for Tea Party as they attempt to move on through, but they're going to have to do it through the Buds EMP. Buds should be using it here any moment. Tea Party aggressing on through. XL2 fighting their time. Graviton in. There's the EMP. It's a heavy investment, but it does pay off.
It's a heavy investment. They win, but there's still another fight, and they just use Grav and EMP. XL2 might have locked themselves in into a tough situation, though are able to get a very late DMech onto Phosman, which is huge. Get that late DMech, making sure he's not going to be able to fight. Phosman just needs to swap. He needs to just move. Yeah, getting back onto the Devo now, but Tea Party coming up on double supportal. KSP doesn't have Grav. It's all on Gig. It's all on the Nano.
Let's see how it pans out. The Nano or to use Gig dropping the Shatter. Doesn't get anything. Tea Party moving forward. The Bionade limiting how much Phosman can do. The Nano boost letting Tea Party move forward. XL2 just giving it a bit of room. And now Tea Party moving on in. The beat in reserve. They've used the rally, and XL2 just giving this rally a lot of space.
I mean, they have to, because right now they're not going to win in the straight-up one-on-one fight. Montal also has that beat. Ace of Spades looking for the setup for the Shatter. Looking to try to close it out right now because Amadian does not have that grab just
Gig's
yet.
under heavy pressure. Has to be very careful here. Shield is getting low. Ace of Spades moving forward. Shatter at the ready. Gonna drop the Shatter. and knocks down Haku in the back. Bionade also coming in. XL2 though, returning fire. They use the EMP, hits 3. Falseman in real danger as a result, going to lose the mech. And XL2 off the EMP. They bring it back the other way. Tea Party will be repelled here on point C. And XL2 takes the series, but a lot closer than I think XL2 would have liked.
A lot closer than they would have liked. And a good first showing for Tea Party and Contenders. Remember, they did come out of Trials. They weren't even one of the top 2 Trials teams. They finished 4-3. And when we have so many teams moving up from Trials, especially a lot of players that really have never really been in Contenders before often, that's a good showing. What is an Academy squad that has some veteran talent, that has talent from other, because also KSV, he's from Europe, he's not a proven squad, he's from the Morning Stars. So it's not like they have unknown faces by any means. And then Chicken Contenders also had a reasonable playoff run last season. So pretty good showing for Tea Party.
No, not bad at all. And I mean, it is a long Contender season. There is plenty of time to rebound after an early loss, although really you don't want to accumulate too many losses because then you get into a lot of make or break situations early in the season. But for a new team like Tea Party, there is time to adapt. There's time to rebound.
There is time. And for XL2, their mission after what was, sure, they made playoffs last season, but they obviously want to make it a lot farther. They didn't go to the Atlantic Showdown, but the gauntlet is now up for grabs. They have not recaptured any of their former glory just yet, though they are still looking at a relatively solid team from last season to this one. Now their goal is to do better than they did last season. Hope they can get farther into the playoffs.
Well, guys, that is our first match of the day done in Overwatch. We still have 3 more to go. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be in with the second match of the day.